Good afternoon. Last class we discussed bar of uniformly varying cross section having a solid circular section. When a bar tapers uniformly from a diameter d1 to the diameter d2, when the bar is subjected to an axial pull, we derived expression for total change in length, that is delta L is equal to 4 PL by pi e d1 d2. And also we established a relation for free expansion. When free expansion of a bar due to self weight, and again there we got it is change in length or free expansion due to self weight is equal to WL divided by 2 AE, and also we compared there. So expansion or change in length due to self weight is equal to half of that of the change in length when the bar is subjected to axial pull or push. Now let us consider another expression to find total change in length when a bar of constant thickness T and whose width varies uniformly A at one end to B at the other end, and when it is subjected to an axial pull. Here I have denoted it as A and B. It may be other than capital A and capital B also, no problem. In other words, this is the rectangular tapering section with a constant thickness. The previous one is a circular tapering section whose diameter varies from d1 to d2. Here it is rectangular taper section having constant thickness whose width varies from A at one end to B at the other end. So in order to understand and proceed further, let us consider a bar of uniformly varying section having a constant thickness. Figure is same as before, except that here we use A and B for the widths in place of D1 and D2. Again consider a fixed end at the top. So this fixity indicates that there is again equal and opposite pull. It is subjected to axial tensile force. Let the width of the bar is A at one end and it is B at the other end. Let L is the length of the bar considered. Let us consider an elemental strip of this bar. Of thickness dx, which is situated at a distance of x from the free end or one end. So once we know the width of the bar at the bottom, we can find out the fractional width of the elemental strip. On either side the fractional width at the top is equal to A minus B by 2 Similarly, here also it is A minus B by 2 let K be the width at the elemental portion on either side, like this. So again, in order to show this having a constant thickness, let us consider the isometric view of this the bar. If you can add this the thickness, so a constant thickness you can see here. This is a constant thickness of the bar, whose width varies from A at one end to B at the other end. So bar of a tapering section, it's a rectangular section having a constant thickness and whose width varies from A at one end to B at the other end. Now, so we have considered the bar of tapering section having constant thickness with width A at one end to B at the other end, and this bar is subjected to axial pull P. We have considered an elemental strip of thickness dx at a distance x from the one end, and here the fractional width of this elemental strip on either side corresponds to this bottom width is equal to k. Again, as usual, we consider in the previous case of bar of circular solid circular section. We can see two triangles here. As this is the elemental strip having negligible thickness, we can consider two triangles. So this is one triangle and this is another triangle. From similar triangles, we can write the expression. From similar triangles, k by x is equal to a minus b divided by 2 divided by L. K by x is equal to a minus b by 2 divided by the total length. That is, k is equal to a minus b divided by 2 times of L into x. This is k. Now, knowing the fractional width, we can find out the total width of the elemental strip. So, width of elemental strip is equal to b plus, so this width is b plus 2k. That is equal to b plus 2k 2 times of a minus b divided by 2L into x. That is equal to b plus a minus b by L into x. So we know the width of the elemental strip. It is b plus a minus b by L into x. We can find out the cross sectional area of this elemental strip. So earlier we considered a solid circular one, now it is a rectangular one having a constant thickness. So cross sectional area of this elemental strip is equal to width into this thickness. Cross sectional area of elemental strip is equal to B plus A minus B by L into X that multiplied by T. So we know the width and we know the cross sectional area. Now we can easily write the change in length of this elemental strip. Change in length of elemental strip is equal to, by treating this elemental strip as a bar of uniform cross section, change in length of elemental strip can be written as P, consider as it is, L is this elemental strip thickness dx, that divided by A into E. Area is B plus A minus B divided by L into X into T into E. So this is change in length of elemental strip. Now the total change in length of the bar, the total change in length of the bar is equal to, if you integrate this term by taking the range from 0 to L, we will get total change in length of the bar is equal to, taking integral 0 to L, P dx divided by B plus A minus B divided by L into X to T into E. So we can take out this P by TE outside, 0 to L dx divided by B plus A minus B divided by L into X. Call this as equation 1. Now from equation 1, let us consider this denominator. Let B plus A minus B divided by L into X is equal to Y. Call this as equation 2. Taking differential on both the sides, we get A minus B divided by L is equal to dy by dx. Therefore, dx is equal to L divided by A minus B into dy. Now let us work out the range of integration. At x is equal to 0, comma y is equal to b in equation 2. Similarly, at x is equal to L, then y is equal to LL get cancelled, it is BB get cancelled, y is equal to A. This is in equation 2. So after working out the range of integration, so we can rewrite the equation 1 thus equation 1 takes the form that is delta L is equal to P divided by TE. So, range of integration B to A. So, dx is equal to L divided by A minus B, L divided by A minus B into dy, that divided by y. Now, still we can take out this L by AB outside. We take PL by PL outside and AB also outside, PL by TE into A minus B integration B to A, left with it is dy by y. If you integrate this dy by y, that is equal to PL divided by TE into A minus B, integration of dy by y is log y B to A. This can also be written as PL by TE into A minus B log A minus log B. Therefore, finally we can write this total change in length delta L is equal to PL divided by TE into A minus B to log of A by B. This is the desired expression when a bar of rectangular section having constant thickness subjected to axial load. Here A is always greater than B. Suppose if it is asked to solve problem by giving the width Young's modulus and length of the bar with A, the varied width, always you have to consider bigger dimension A and smaller dimension the B. So, if at all if they ask problem on this, they ask the direct substitution problem, or after obtaining this expression they may ask to substitute the numerical, means by giving numerical values you have to substitute the numerical value and work out the problem. So far we had come across stress, strain, then linear strain. In stress, tensile stress, compressive stress, then strain, linear strain, lateral strain, longitudinal strain, then Hooke's law, elastic limit, stress strain relations or stress strain graph. Next, principle of superposition, bar of varying cross section, bar of uniformly varying cross section, and again in bar of uniformly varying cross section it is solid circular section, bar of uniformly varying solid circular section, bar of uniformly varying rectangular section with a constant thickness, and the free expansion due to self weight of the bar. Now let us move on to the other concept and other terminology, and it is considered as one of the elastic constant. Poisson's ratio, and it is denoted by 1 over m or mu. So both symbols are acceptable. The first elastic constant we discussed is Young's modulus, and the second one is which we are describing is Poisson's ratio. Young's modulus, it is for a very elastic material, the ratio of stress to the corresponding strain remains constant up to the elastic limit of the given material, and that constant ratio is known as Young's modulus. That is equal to F divided by E, and Young's modulus is denoted by E, that is equal to F divided by E. The unit of Young's modulus is Newton per millimeter square or kilonewton per meter square, giganewton per millimeter square, meganewton per millimeter square, and so on. In the same line, we can define the second elastic constant, Poisson's ratio. There we use stress along with strain to define the Young's modulus, whereas here to define Poisson's ratio we use linear strains. We discussed longitudinal strain and lateral strain. The strain, whenever an elastic body is subjected to external force, strain not only occurs along the line of action of force, but also perpendicular to line of action of force. The strain which develops along the line of action of force is known as longitudinal strain. On the other hand, the strain which develops perpendicular to the line of action of force is known as lateral strain. Also, we have told that always the magnitude of longitudinal strain is very much greater than the lateral strain, and it is opposite in nature. Now, by using those strains, basically both lateral strain and longitudinal strains are linear strain. By using these linear strains, we can define this Poisson's ratio. We can define like Young's modulus here also, the same dialogues we use here also. For every elastic material, the ratio of lateral strain to the corresponding longitudinal strain remains constant up to the elastic limit of the given material. This constant ratio is known as Poisson's ratio, and it is denoted by 1 over m or mu. Now, thus Poisson's ratio comma 1 over m is equal to lateral strain divided by longitudinal strain. Therefore, lateral strain is equal to longitudinal strain divided by m. Let us call this as equation 1. So, lateral strain can be written in the form of longitudinal strain and the Poisson's ratio. Let F be the direct stress induced in the bar or body, and E be the Young's modulus, capital E be the Young's modulus of the material. Then longitudinal strain is equal to F divided by E, because we know that E is equal to F divided by strain. Substitute this longitudinal strain in equation 1 by substituting longitudinal strain in equation 1, we get that is lateral strain is equal to F divided by ME. So, this is the expression for lateral strain in terms of direct stress, Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio. So, this lateral strain can also be expressed in terms of change in dimension. Say for example, for a solid circular section, it has only two dimensions, namely D and L. In terms of diameter, lateral strain delta D by D, change in diameter to original diameter, is equal to F divided by ME. Therefore, change in diameter delta D is equal to F divided by ME into D. So, using this expression we can find out the change in diameter. Knowing the original diameter, direct stress, Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio, we can work out delta D, the change in diameter. Similarly, for solid rectangular section, it has three dimension of course. Lateral strain along width delta B by B, that is equal to F divided by ME. Therefore, delta B is equal to F divided by ME into B. And suppose if it is a thickness or depth, so in terms of thickness, again lateral strain is equal to delta T by T is equal to F divided by ME. Therefore, delta T is equal to F divided by ME into T. So, knowing the stress, Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio and dimension of the material, we can work out the lateral strain. Of course, for a rectangular section, it's the change in length, longitudinal strain can be easily calculated. Change in length divided by original length. If it is a rectangular section, if it is a circular section, it is again change in length divided by original length. It is for a longitudinal strain. So, like this we can find out the lateral strain and the corresponding change in dimensions by using the Poisson's ratio concept. Now, move on to another important terminology, it is volumetric strain. And this is denoted by EV. So, volumetric strain can also be defined in the same way of the linear strain. Linear strain is equal to change in linear dimension to the corresponding original dimension is known as linear strain. In the same line we can define this volumetric strain. For a very elastic material, the ratio of change in volume to the corresponding original volume is known as volumetric strain. Change in volume to the corresponding original volume is known as volumetric strain and it is denoted by EV. That is, EV is equal to delta V divided by V, where delta V is equal to change in volume and V is equal to the original volume. Based on this volumetric strain and the Poisson's ratio which we discussed and the previous concepts, let us have a expression for volumetric strain when a body is subjected to direct stresses along three mutually perpendicular planes. Expression for volumetric strain when the body or when the given material is subjected to normal stresses along three mutually perpendicular directions. And hence, to prove that or to show that Poisson's ratio for any given material is always less than 1/2. We are going to derive expression for volumetric strain. After deriving expression for volumetric strain, when the body or material subjected to normal stresses along three mutually perpendicular plane, we are going to show that the Poisson's ratio for any given material is always less than 1/2 or half. From this, you can easily understand that Poisson's ratio value always for any given construction material, Poisson's ratio is less than 0.5. Just remember this, register in your mind. Value of Poisson's ratio is always less than 0.5, and that too majority of the materials are not approaching this on the 0.5. It's less than 0.5 only. It's 0.25, 0.3, maximum it is 0.35, something like that. Only the rubber it is having a Poisson's ratio, it reaches to 0.5 like that. So Young's modulus for a structural steel is the maximum value of Young's modulus for a structural steel is about 200 GPa, and Poisson's ratio for any given material is always less than 0.5. It never crosses the unity, even it never crosses 0.5. Now, in order to have the expression, let us consider a cube. Let this cube be subjected to normal stresses along three mutually perpendicular planes, say Fx, Fy and Fz. So, 3-dimensional figure, you can see here, this is the directions, this is x direction, y direction, and so this is z direction. So, we have considered a cube, elemental cube subjected to normal stresses along 3 mutually perpendicular direction. Let E be the Young's modulus of the material. One over m be the Poisson's ratio. This cube is subjected to normal stresses along 3 mutually perpendicular directions. Because of this normal stress, we can expect a strain along 3 mutually perpendicular directions. Let Ex and Ex comma Ey and Ez be the strain along 3 mutually perpendicular directions. Due to this applied normal stress. Now, we can write expression for these strains along 3 mutually perpendicular direction. So, we can write strain along direction x due to fx. If you write strain expression for strain along x direction due to this normal stress fx, then that strain will be Ex. So, let us recall, whenever a body is subjected to axial force, strain not only occurs along line of action of force, but also perpendicular to line of action of force. Here, due to applied normal stress, strain will develop along line of action of stress and also a perpendicular to the line of action of force. There are 3 line of action of force here, x direction, y direction and z direction. If you measure strain along the force direction or stress direction, that will be a longitudinal strain, and the strains which develops due to this applied stress in one direction will be lateral strains. So, we can write expression for strain in one direction in 3 terms. That is, linear strain along x direction due to fx is equal to, so first one is along this stress direction is a longitudinal strain, the other one is lateral strain and other one is also lateral strain. That is, you can write like this, strain along x direction due to fx normal stress, that is Ex is equal to fx by E. Longitudinal strain can be written in terms of direct stress and Young's modulus. So, this is a longitudinal strain. When we are measuring strain along x direction, and the strain will develop along y direction and z direction also, and the perpendicular direction strains are called as lateral strain, and that lateral strain can be expressed in terms of direct stress, Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio. Also, we have discussed that always the longitudinal strain and lateral strains are opposite in nature. Now, we can write expression for the strain along x direction like this, Ex is equal to fx divided by E minus Fy by Me, this is lateral strain. strain along x direction due to Fx is equal to Ex. First one is longitudinal strain because it is x direction, and this strain will be lateral strain, and also strain due along z direction also it is a lateral strain Fz by Me. Negative sign here in this expression indicates that always lateral strains are opposite in nature to the longitudinal strain. Similarly, strain along y direction due to Fy, that is Ey is equal to, now here the longitudinal strain will be Fy by E, Fy by E minus Fz by Me minus Fx by Me, and strain along z direction due to Fz, that is Ez is equal to Fz by E minus Fx by Me minus Fy by Me. These are the strains, linear strain, of course, linear strain along x direction, y direction and z direction, linear strain in terms of both longitudinal strain and lateral strain. Now, volumetric strain is equal to sum of the strain along x, y and z direction. Next line, volumetric strain EV is equal to Ex plus Ey plus Ez. Now substitute these Ex, Ey and Ez in this expression. We get, substituting for Ex, Ey and Ez in the above expression, we get, that is Ev is equal to Fx by E plus Fy by E plus Fz by E, Fx by E plus Fy by E plus Fz by E. Next, we have negative sign in the second terms of all the three expression. Take 2 divided by, you can take 2 terms are there. So 1, 2, 3, there are 2 terms here. You can take the 2 divided by Me as common factor minus 2 divided by Me as common factor, left with Fx plus Fy plus Fz. This can also be written as, that is Ev is equal to Fx plus Fy plus Fz divided by E into 1 minus 2 over Me. So this is the desired expression for volumetric strain. So EV is equal to Fx plus Fy plus Fz divided by E into 1 minus 2 over m. Next, for volumetric strain to exist, 1 minus 2 over m is always greater than 0, or minus 2 over m is always greater than minus 1, 2 over m is always less than 1. Next, or 1 over m is always less than 1 by 2. This shows that for any given material, Poisson's ratio is always less than 1 by 2 of. So like this you can show or prove that it is Poisson's ratio for any given material is less than 1 by 2. So expression for volumetric strain in terms of normal stresses, Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio. Next, volumetric strain can also be expressed in terms of change in volume. In terms of change in volume, volumetric strain EV is equal to delta V divided by V. So this volumetric strain in terms of change in volume can be related to the volumetric strain which obtained based on the normal stress, Young's modulus and Poisson's ratio. That is, delta V by V is equal to Fx plus Fy plus Fz that divided by E into 1 minus 2 over m. Therefore, change in volume delta V is equal to Fx plus Fy plus Fz that divided by E into 1 minus 2 over m that multiplied by V. We can use this expression to find change in volume of a body or a material when it is subjected to normal stresses along 3 mutually perpendicular planes. So these are the expression for volumetric strain when a body is subjected to normal stresses along 3 mutually perpendicular stresses. Suppose if the body is subjected to only one normal stress, there also again volumetric strain can be calculated. So under such circumstance, the expression for volumetric strain reduces to, that is, EV is equal to Fx by E into 1 minus 2 over m. So when a body is subjected to only one normal stress, a direct stress, and simply we assume that the given the stress is acting along x direction, and we can write the expression for volumetric strain EV is equal to Fx divided by E into 1 minus 2 over m. Also, in terms of change in volume, the above expression can be rewritten as delta V by V is equal to Fx by E into 1 minus 2 over m. Therefore, change in volume delta V is equal to Fx by E into 1 minus 2 over m that multiplied by V. So like this we can write expressions, and the same expressions can be used to solve the numerical problems. Now, in order to understand these concepts of Poisson's ratio, volumetric strain, Let us consider a few simple numerical examples. A steel bar 50 millimeter wide and 12 millimeter thick and 300 millimeter long is subjected to axial pull of 110 kilonewton. For this, it is asked to find the changes in dimension and volume of the bar by taking Young's modulus E is equal to 205 GPa and Poisson's ratio 1/m is equal to 0.25. So, whenever we come across this type of problem, it is better we should write the appropriate figure. So, based on the figure we can write the cross sectional area and also we can decide the longitudinal and lateral dimensions. A steel bar 50 millimeter wide, 12 millimeter thick and 300 millimeter long means it is a rectangular solid rectangular beam. It is 50 millimeter wide, millimeter thick, millimeter long. Subjected to an axial pull of 110 kilonewton. It is subjected to an axial pull of 110 kilonewton. For this condition, asked to find changes in dimensions and volume of the bar is nothing but change in volume of the bar by taking Young's modulus E is equal to 205 GPa and Poisson's ratio 1/m is equal to 0.25. So, we have considered this the figure and written again to clarify the cross sectional area. There are majority of the cases it is we get confused with the cross sectional, which cross sectional area to be taken, particularly whenever we come across a rectangular section. In some case usually directly we take this longer dimension it is longer dimension multiplied by width, it is 300 multiplied by 50 or 50 multiplied by 300, that is equal to area. No, that is not the, always we are the area here in while working out the problem we should consider a cross sectional area. That is what I have written this in isometric view. The hatched portion is the cross section. Now let us write the given data. If you write figure and analyze, then if you write correct the data, converted data, it's very easy to solve the problem. Given B is equal to 50 millimeter, then thickness T is equal to 12 millimeter, L is equal to length of the bar 300 millimeter, subjected to an axial pull of P is equal to 110 kilonewton, that is equal to 110 into 10 power 3 Newton. It is asked to find the changes in dimension. Changes in dimension is nothing but delta L. When the bar is subjected to axial pull like this, changes in dimension takes place, means strain occurs along all the three dimensions. So strain which occurs along the length is called as longitudinal strain. Strain which occurs perpendicular to the length is are called as lateral strain. So delta L is equal to question mark, delta B is equal to question mark, delta T is equal to question mark, and also it is delta V is equal to question mark, change in volume. Now delta L, change in length, can be easily calculated. Change in length is equal to PL divided by A into E, and next delta B, delta T, delta V can also be calculated by using the direct stress, Young's modulus, and the Poisson's ratio. As we use the cross sectional area for all the 4 cases, let us calculate cross sectional area first. Cross sectional area A is equal to only cross sectional dimensions. Here cross sectional dimension means B into T, not it is L into T or L into the B. A is equal to B into T, that is equal to 50 multiplied by 12, it is 600 millimeter square. As the stress is required here to calculate the change in width, change in thickness, and change in volume, let us calculate the direct stress here itself. So direct stress or normal stress, direct stress comma F is equal to P divided by cross sectional area, that is equal to 110 into 10 power 3, that divided by area 600, that is equal to 183.33 Newton per millimeter square. So knowing cross sectional area and direct stress, now we can easily calculate the change in dimensions. Change in length, delta L can be calculated by using the conventional known equation. Delta L is equal to PL divided by A into E, that is equal to 110 into 10 power 3, that multiplied by 300 divided by cross sectional area 600 into E, Young's modulus of the material, it is 205 into 10 power 3 Newton per millimeter square. Okay. So solving we will get delta L is equal to 0.26 millimeter. Next, change in width. Delta B is equal to, here you can write expression for change in width in terms of direct stress, Young's modulus, Poisson's ratio. F divided by ME into B, original width, that is equal to direct stress we have, it is 183.33 divided by Young's modulus is 205 into 10 power 3, So, Poisson's ratio 0.25 multiplied by width is 50 millimeter. Solving this we will get 0.011 millimeter. Next, change in thickness. Delta T is equal to, again, F divided by ME into original thickness, that is equal to 183.33 into 0.25, it is Poisson's ratio, that divided by Young's modulus 205 into 10 power 3, that multiplied by thickness is 12 millimeter, is equal to 2.10 power minus 3 mm, right. And change in volume, delta V is equal to, again, F divided by E into 1 minus 2 over M into V. Here V is equal to, of course here we know the area, multiplied by L gives us the volume. A into L, that is 600 multiplied by 300 mm cube, that is delta V is equal to, F is 183.33, that divided by 205 into 10 power 3 into 1 minus 2 into 0.25, that multiplied by this V, it is 600 into 300. It gives us change in volume, delta V is equal to 80.48 millimeter cube. So, like this we can work out the change in dimensions and change in volume. And while explaining lateral strain, longitudinal strain, and we discussed that always lateral strains are smaller in magnitude when compared to longitudinal strain, that we got it here now. Change in length is 0.26 millimeter, whereas change in length it is a longitudinal strain. Then here it is lateral dimension, there is a small fractional decrease in dimension 0.011, and thickness wise still it is fractional, whereas change in volume is as usual.